If you have ever felt like Fleabag, sitting in confessional, begging the hot priest for a guiding force to tell you what to do and how to do it, well, don't turn to YouTube for that kind of thing. That way lies cults and digital courses. But if you are down on your knees specifically requesting guidance on how to embrace creativity and make space for artistic play in your life, whether that's to protect your mental health so you can be a functioning member of society, or to get the fuck off your phone, well, now there I can help. Today, we're deep diving pretty much everything I've learned about creative hobbies in the past year. But first, we're making a fun little project that you can A, fill out while you watch this video, and B, use to help you craft when you have no inspiration or motivation. But it's not the project that's currently on screen, so we're going to park that and come back to it in a minute. And that is a crafting bingo sheet, which is exactly what it sounds like, a sheet of craft ideas or prompts for you to work your way through, possibly with a reward at the end. Because sometimes it feels like creativity has this mystical Pinterestified filter applied, and something I try to make very clear with my videos is that, well, that is certainly not how I experience it. Creativity is a muscle, it is a practice, and in the same way that I doubt runners wait for bursts of, yes, I strongly desire to leave my cozy home and run a mile in the cold, you also shouldn't wait to be magically inspired or in the mood to be creative. Sometimes a bit of external structure or guidance, like a bingo sheet you might give yourself a month to work through, can be a really useful tool. Now, obviously you can use mine, it has prompts filled out, but for one thing, it didn't turn out very good, okay? Listen, not everything is a win. And for another thing, I would also invite you to use this blank template I created and fill it out yourself, because then you can fill it out based off things that you actually find interesting. So whether you're searching for a creative outlet but you don't know where to start, or if you're already knee deep in the trenches, you are 5 Pinterest boards down but always on the hunt for more inspiration, this compilation has something for you. We're covering everything from easy hobby and project ideas to free tools you can use to actually prioritize creativity. So whack this video on in the background, pick up your half-finished craft, yes, the one you started months ago, I have not forgot, and enjoy. Oh, and of course, if anything pricks your interest, make sure you add it to your bingo sheet. I had a light bulb moment recently, and that came from the Wild Geese podcast. To quote, what Anna said was, I think it's incredibly hard to retrain your attention span and focus again when you're not entirely sure the present moment is worth being present for. And damn, queen, buy me dinner before you read me to filth. But also, as soon as I heard that, something clicked into place. There's been a rising overlap in hobby content and screen addiction content, which has triggered a very common reaction in me. Vague discomfort and confusion about exactly where that discomfort is coming from. On one hand, I'm a lifelong hobbyist who feels a lot of fulfillment and inspiration through those hobbies, and sees that as a very effective barrier against the ever-grabbing hands of the neon sirens. On the other, something I couldn't quite put my finger on, felt incomplete in the whole, 100 things to do instead of doom scrolling type posts I was seeing. A missing link, maybe. And Anna's point is simple, but it's also profoundly true. While there definitely is a screen addiction element to behaviours like compulsively scrolling on Instagram at dinner with friends, don't do that, there is also an element of ennui that draws people to their phones. The drudgery of a morning commute, the meaninglessness of the job you hate but need to pay your bills and stay alive, the mental exhaustion after a day of that job, and the bleed over meh you might feel from all of that during your free time. I think this is what a lot of content is positioning hobbies as the solution for. And hear me out, I don't disagree. However, while hobbies are a great solution to that endless, gnawing vacuum of boredom inside of you, they require more mental buy-in and investment to achieve that than a do this instead of that video might suggest. So, today I want to give you a starting point. We're going to talk about well-rounded hobbies you could explore to build up different aspects of your life, like intellectual stimulation, creativity, socializing, and being active, in hopes of developing a present worth being present for. Let's go! Before we jump in, let's acknowledge a simple truth. Sometimes it can be hard to start and continue new things because they just aren't immediately satisfying. Logically, we all know this, but we also know that processed food is bad for us, and I ate a donut while I was writing this script. So my tip is twofold. 1, frame hobbies as long-term rewards, not instant gratification that can always directly compete with your phone. Especially at the beginning, that is probably probably enough. And 2, tie your hobby into a goal, something you can work towards outside of just, I want to have fun. Not because having fun isn't the goal, it is, but because you might need a bit of motivation to get over the hill and find that new hobby fun. We'll touch more on that in the first hobby I mentioned though. With all that being said, let's get into some of the hobbies that I would pick up if I wanted a well-rounded approach to not hating my life. These are, of course, based off my personal hobbies. They are not the quote-unquote best hobbies, not that there is such a thing, but they're hobbies that I think are easy to start and also, and this is important, that you can develop with. So, as always with my videos, inspiration, not Bible. Hobby 1, for intellectual stimulation, reading. Why it's on this list. Because we've been writing and enjoying stories for at least 4,000 years, you cannot tell me there's not something in that, but also because in this economy, there is nothing required to start. If you utilize your local library, reading can be completely free, and there's something for everyone. Reading can be fun and silly, or you can use it for more serious pursuits. Hell, do both. Read a fun satirical fantasy during the week and tackle a classic on the weekend. There's also a lot of progress or growth you can find within reading in terms of developing new skills or expanding your hobby interests over time. Reading can be a gateway to writing, to analysis, writing reviews, annotation, media journaling. Oh, look at all the subtle plugs I just gracefully slipped right on in there. That is calling to mind a very specific Nicole Raffi thumbnail. You could also tie reading into social gatherings, join a book club, or make a bucket list of the cutest libraries and bookshops in your city. Hobbies 2 and 3 for creativity and play, DIYs, or journaling. We all knew these were coming. Let's start with DIYs. DIY, why it's on the list. Easy DIYs and Pinterest crafts are a great way to tap into creative play without necessarily needing any artistic skill. You can start small and beginner friendly, but also with things that genuinely prick your interest. So I'm going to show you what I mean with a few of my easiest craft tutorials that require literally no skill. If you like jewelry, here's a DIY tattooed ring holder using nothing but printable tattoo paper and a drawing mannequin. And you can use Canva to source the designs, so no drawing required. If you like goal setting, here's a DIY vision board. I use a Kmart canvas, a tea towel, and a staple gun. Again, no skill required. And if you like fashion, here's an easy DIY t-shirt using printable iron-on transfer paper. Are we sensing a theme? On the topic of paper, if you're on a budget, paper DIYs are another great option. I made a printable DIY theatre ages ago that is totally free to download on my Substack, and you can print and cut and make it at home. But while these are all super easy, we can see a very natural progression path in here for if you do find yourself loving the imaginative, playful outlet of using your hands. Whether that's a more practical path of mastering something like woodworking and learning to build your own furniture, or realizing, hey, I actually enjoy sketching and doodling and I want to dive into that, learn to paint, make my own illustrations for some of the things I'm making. There are pretty endless options. DIYs can also have a really big social element. I love a handmade gift, and I also enjoy hosting craft nights or going to one-off classes with my friends. My best friend and I have a ring carving and rug making class on our to-do list. So overall, DIYs are a great way to build confidence and try lots of different things while you're searching for what creative practices you actually want to delve into. Or you might find you just like making lots of little things. Now, on to suggestion number 2 in this section, journaling. Why it's on the list. Journaling combines creative play with intellectual stimulation. You can start with something completely artistic, freeform and fun, like junk journaling and collaging, and sprinkle in more written forms of journaling as, when, and if you like. The supplies you need can also completely flex to fit your budget. If you're junk journaling, for example, the idea is to use old trash like receipts and packaging. Or if you do want to explore written journaling, all you need is a journal and pen, and you can go cheap for those. In fact, I would actively encourage you to go cheap, at least until you've developed a habit. Now, I don't want to harp on about it too much because I've put journaling under the creative hobby section of this video, but one of the benefits that I specifically credit to written journaling is mental space. When we're talking about screen time especially, I find a ton of input and stimulation just completely fogs up my brain in a way that often doesn't even become clear to me until I've taken the time to destimulate slow down and process my thoughts. I've spoken about this a ton on my channel already, but that mental space for me is what fuels my creativity, but also my focus and just general presence. All of which, by the way, makes me feel less inclined to reach for my phone. Next hobby. Hobby 4, for getting out into the world and being active, hiking. Why it's on this list. The world is a beautiful place full of things that your phone does not compare to. Yet, modern life does a fantastic job of keeping us inside, usually isolated, anxious, and tired. I know for me, as a city kid and then a mostly city adult, sometimes the world outside of concrete skyscrapers and sardine-packed streets has felt a bit more like a concept than something that I could step into and access. Hiking is good exercise, which has a ton of benefits, we all know that. But it's also such a great reminder of what lies outside your immediate front door. And if we tie it back to the idea of building a present worth being present for, well, using your weekends to escape into nature and see awesome stuff like penguins and a beach full of black swans, those feel like things worth being present for. What happens when you let your boyfriend pick the day? Welcome to day 2 of 30 days of hobbies. Today we're on a mission to explore a Tolkien-esque landscape. That's a quote from my boyfriend's hiking book. This is his adventure. This mystical place is in Cape Willamette, so we had an hour-and-a-half drive ahead of us, plus a race to beat the rain. There are multiple trails you can do. We headed to the Woodland Trail, which was stunning, but the real highlight was unexpected. When looping back through Cleland Blight, there was a beach full of swans, and you could see the penguins. However, this part of the walk is inaccessible depending on the tide, so we ended up having to double back on ourselves halfway down. But we got to see a bunch of wallabies, so we weren't mad about it. This was such a fun day. The boyfriend did good. And of course, there is also the social element. If you have friends that are down to go on hikes with you or a partner, it's a great way to spend quality time together, to experience new things together. Plus, you normally don't have phone coverage, so you can't check your phone, even if you want to. The through-line hobby, socializing. Socialization deserves its own category because you can do all the cool stuff all the time, but it is often better with other people there to enjoy it too. Also, and I know we touched on this briefly before, but it is worth emphasizing how isolated modern life can make us when we're discussing trying to essentially build a more fulfilling day-to-day. Humans are social creatures. Connection is important for us, mentally and physically. To quote the Australian Institute of Health and Welfare, social isolation has been linked to mental illness, emotional distress, suicide, the development of dementia, premature death, and poor health behaviors, as well as biological effects, including high blood pressure and impaired immune function. Now look, I don't want to demonize technology here. As somebody who has lived overseas for my entire family for almost a decade, WhatsApp is so useful. It allows us to have regular phone calls and I still get to feel really connected to them. In that article I referenced a second ago, there's actually an entire section explaining how the link between social media and loneliness and/or social isolation is not straightforward. In some uses, researchers have found it can benefit people, and in others, it can be harmful. However, social media does give us easy ways to almost imitate real connection without allowing us to actually feel its benefits, and I think we need to be mindful of that. So you might have a technical friend where you just like each other's Instagram stories, you technically feel caught up with their life, and vice versa. They know everything about you because you've put it onto the internet. Babes, don't do that. But does that mean that you would feel comfortable calling them in crisis? Or even because you're bored and you want to hang out? Let's say one of the hobbies on this list has caught your attention and you're like, yes, let me bring a social element to that. That friend who you technically call a friend, who you technically engage with, send all the likes and whatnot, do you actually feel comfortable sending them a DM or picking up the phone being like, hey, let's do this? And not to mention the actual, foundations of modern life. I love work from home. This is not me engaging in back to office propaganda, but I can also acknowledge the new lack of social space that creates. When I first started working, for example, I was always surrounded by people. Most of the friend groups I've made in Australia were made through work because I came here at 19, I didn't know anyone, so where else was I going to meet people? Bills needed to be paid. But not only giving me the opportunity to meet new people, Being in the office also meant that outside of my co-workers, friends I already had were also up, ready, and at least loosely in the same area at the same time. A lot of my friends worked in the city, albeit spread across different places. So let's say we all knock off loosely around 5:30. Again, we're already up, dressed, in the city, so it makes it easy for us to grab dinner or check out a movie or something. Nowadays, a lot of us live outside of the city because money, and in completely different directions, of course. And all of this just combines to create a perfect situation where spontaneous and easy socialization, it just doesn't get the same opportunities that it used to. And I say all this to say, socialization is something that can fall to the wayside quite easily in our modern lifestyles. And if we're talking about intentionally building hobbies to develop a well-rounded present, I think I would be doing you a disservice if I didn't also tack on intentionally creating space to connect with other people. The thing is though, I don't really know what to put specifically for this section because you can turn pretty much any hobby into an opportunity for socialization. If you have an existing friend group, you could just take on the role of organizer, host a monthly book club, or create a hiking group chat where you can decide on places to visit across the month. Maybe carpooling arrangements because fuel is expensive. You could ask your friends what their hobbies are and see if you can tag along. Beware though, if you have any friends in their 30s, they might say golf, and that is information that you cannot unknow. On the other hand, your friends might be in the same boat as you, not having necessarily enough hobbies and wanting to try new things. And so maybe you could try exploring new things together. Of course, all of that is assuming that you already have friends. Maybe you've moved to a new city or something like that. So if you're looking for new friends, honestly, you could just find a club that likes something you already like. Run clubs, for example, are massive here in Australia. Now, don't get me wrong, you could not catch me dead at one, but still, the point remains that things like that do exist. But what do you guys enjoy? Naturally, all these suggestions are just that, suggestions based off my personal interests. I've also tried to keep them semi-cost friendly and generic in the sense of hopefully being practical for the masses, i.e. I think gardening is a rewarding and practical hobby that for enjoyment, I 100% would have put on this list, but gardening requires space that not everyone has. Again, the idea of this video is not to give you some kind of strict, you must do this list, but to open the conversation around hobbies and screen time up a little bit. So I open the floor to you guys. What are your favorite hobbies that make you feel like your life is worth being present for? Tell me in the comments. I would love to know. I am very nosy. And while you're down there, like, hype, subscribe, all the engagement things, please and thank you. It really helps out my channel and I do appreciate it. So we've covered long-term rewards. What about short-term ones? Now, nothing exists in a vacuum. And you may have periodically screamed at the screen about attention span and dopamine, etc. And to that I will say, you're not wrong. I do have a video that talks about how our phones, and especially algorithmic content like TikTok, effectively hijacks the brain's short-term reward circuit by becoming the artificially purest reward in the room, and in every room, because it's always with you, constantly reinforcing that loop. I will link that video in the description box if you want to explore that side of things a little bit more. It also covers some free ways that you can try to reduce that reward queue. So if you feel like you need that kind of two-prong approach, the link is there, my friends. But yeah, that is everything for today. As always, thank you to my channel members and thank you to you for hanging out with me. Okay, bye. Before I read you for filth, I just want to let you know that this is in fact a safe space. We listen and we do not judge. However, my crafty friends, I do know about the thing. The doom closet, the junk drawer, the shadowy space where your hobbies lay down to die. It's a graveyard for your hyperfixations. You probably got stacks of incredibly niche supplies you dropped $100 on and opened once. Wait, what do you do? Don't look at mine. Anyways, I'm here to tell you that it doesn't have to be this way. Oh wait, you have rampant ADHD. Okay, maybe it does have to be this way. But I'm going to show you how to use your hobby graveyard as your superpower by turning all your eclectic supplies into craft kits. And because Christmas is coming up, these projects are ones that you can keep or turn into very fun interactive DIY gifts. This is going to sound counterintuitive, but creativity with restraints can sometimes be a good thing. There's a reason writers fear the blank page. Having just a big wall of supplies can be mentally overwhelming. There is a genuine brain power demand in walking up to your closet and mentally cataloguing your supplies, deciding on a craft and a design, planning exactly what supplies you need to make the thing, figuring out the steps to complete that thing, also having to guess how much time those steps will take, and you need to take everything out now, and so on and so forth. And sometimes the brain just does not want to compute. The ADHD girlies who have looked into executive function get what I mean. Craft kits are a great way to front load a lot of the thinking and planning so that when you want to just sit down and use your hands, you can just sit down and use your hands. And I think that's what also makes them a fun gift. You're giving someone a complete activity. Plus you can make them really cute. Okay, fine, is mostly the cute thing. Later in this video, we'll go through some step-by-step tutorials, etc., but there's a simple method that I use for all my craft kits. So step 1 is to review your craft supplies. The whole point of this exercise, outside of gifting anyway, is to use up whatever supplies you have to hand. So get digging and take stock. With your supplies in mind, scour Pinterest for inspiration projects. The key with this is small and simple. You can always embellish a craft later, but remember we're doing this to not feel overwhelmed. And if you are going to be gifting these out, your gift recipient might not want a massive commitment either. Step 3. Print an inspo pic and create a loose instruction sheet. Canva is usually my go-to for this, but you could always draw something. And step 4. Collate all your supplies into a cute little package like a tin. And that's it. So now that you know what the loose structure of this looks like, let's make some craft kits. But first, hi friends, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Mia and I chat shit while I make shit. So if you like making things or just background noise while you do your dishes, hit subscribe and like/hype/comment on this video if you end up liking this video. It really helps the channel, so thank you. Alright, back to it. What we're making today. We're going to be making 4 craft kits today. So with my methodology in mind, the supplies I have are printable shrink ink paper, transfer paper, a lot of tins. I won a collection of vintage tins on eBay a while ago, and decorative paper. Let's see what we can come up with. Our first craft kit is using printable shrink ink paper, which is a really cool plastic material that shrinks to a fraction of the size when heated. We are taking inspiration for this photo strip keychain by Katie the Jane on Instagram. Now, initially, I'd planned to make each kit and then actually use it to also show you the finished crafts, but I loved this as a gift idea, so I don't want to use it. As a loose idea of how this could come out though, here's a similar craft I made with shrink ink paper. This kit is for my best friend, so I printed a photo strip design of us onto shrink ink paper along with some other little charm designs in case she wants to add some extra things on. I punched a hole in each charm because they shrink down to the perfect size for jump rings once the paper is heated. Here's a little size comparison pre and post baking, by the way. I also added a keychain, some beads, jewelry wire and jump rings to finish the kit off, and that's project 1. For project 2, we will be using iron-on transfer paper. Let's be real, everyone and their mother has heard of iron-on transfer paper, but in case you've had a knock around the head recently, transfer paper is a type of paper where you can use heat. For DIY purposes, you're normally using just a household iron to transfer a design onto fabric. Depending on the brand and the heat tool used, it's not got the best longevity. Like, it might peel after a few washes, which is why I'm gearing this kit towards creating a collage tote bag. This inspo image is from Simply Sunshine by Lucy Joe, by the way. So this one is super easy. I just trawled Pinterest and Canva for cute collage images, printed them onto transfer paper, cut them out, and put them in this adorable mini bag. Here's an example of a craft I've done with transfer paper in the past if you actually haven't seen it in action before. If you have landed on this video, I'm sure you remember the Altoid wallet trend that blew up a few years ago. Well, I still love it and I think it makes a very fun gift. So much so, in fact, that I didn't even need to make a kit for this one. I just dug out this little tin I made as a gift for one of my friends a few years back. This has stayed in my closet because it was part of a big care package and I was too poor to ship the thing internationally. Honestly, guys, everyone says go traveling, but nobody warns you how much it sucks having all your favorite people spread across different continents. Anyways, this is just an example of a little wallet you can make, or you could just collate some decorating supplies into a tin and have the decorating be the craft. And our last project for today is a great way to use up any decorative paper you have lying around, plus it's festive. This one is truly idiot-proof, as evidenced by the fact that I was able to do it. I am, in fact, my village's idiot. But literally all I did was cut my decorative paper into vaguely equal size strips and chuck them in a tin. I did start making a little paper chain just because this really and truly felt too easy and I was suspicious. But it came out cute, so I guess this idea is just easy. Anyways, those are the 4 DIY kits I put together this afternoon, but again, this is an ongoing thing that I do, so a few others I've made have been: this is your sign to make a homemade craft kit, either as a little DIY gift or just for yourself. Welcome to day 12 of 30 days of hobbies. Today we're going to be turning one of my favorite DIYs into a craft kit. So here is everything you need, and would this not be so fun as a girls craft night activity? This craft is for the nostalgic girlies who miss their Tamagotchis. Welcome to day 20 of 30 days of hobbies. Today we are making another homemade craft kit, but as we're currently in my no spend month, we can 1, obviously only use things that I've got at home, and 2, I can actually share a sneak peek of how these have come out so far. Basically, the sky is the limit. Whether you use this tip to actually make use of the supplies sitting in your doom drawer or for adorable handmade gifts, I hope you found it useful. Leave me a comment telling me what your favorite kit was. This is a bonus video, by the way, because I did miss an upload while I was away. So check back on Wednesday because I have something else coming your way too then. Okay, thanks for hanging out with me. Bye. While feeling uninspired in the face of existence isn't surprising, it's still not ideal. Now, I can't fix literally any of the insane things happening in our timeline, but as you are still expected to work under these conditions, I can help you prioritize a bit of creativity and play. You are, after all, of no use to anyone curled up in a ball in the corner. Hi friends, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Mia and I chat shit while I make shit. So if you like making things or just background noise while you do your dishes, hit subscribe. And if you end up liking this video, give it a like, hype, comment for engagement. It really helps the channel and I appreciate it, so thank you. Today, we're making a creative personal curriculum so we can all maintain good vibes in the face of oblivion. Yeehaw! So, what is a creative personal curriculum? For the chronically offline of you, personal curriculums had a bit of a diva moment last year. In the face of the literacy crisis and humanity speedrunning offloading pesky things like thoughts onto AI, sections of the internet are becoming pretty anti-intellectualism. It is no longer protect your neck, it is protect your brain's cognitive capacity. Personal curriculums slotted into that niche perfectly because they're essentially just structured, self-guided learning. Truly the most inoffensive trend. And yet, so a creative personal curriculum is basically taking that same structure and tweaking it for creativity. Okay, but why the focus on creativity? This is embarrassing. Normally, it's me telling you that this is a safe space. Right now, I need you to be my safe space, okay? But honestly, I think some of you might relate to this. Try as I might, the productivity and hustle culture demons are loath to relinquish their grip on my brain. I'm on a bit of a career break right now, courtesy of the side hustle, thank you friends. But this means I have more time on my hands than ever. So tell me why. Last week, I sat down to make a craft desk debrief video, which is basically where I talk about a topic in depth over a bunch of crafting footage. A format that exists purely because I love making things so much that I normally just have tons of unused footage. But last week, I had nothing. Nada. The script was ready, topic research, my capitalist gesture duties performed, but the thing that happens organically, the thing I actually love doing, yeah baby, that was nowhere to be found. I have been utterly uninspired recently. And I've had a few moments like that where I've realized that things I love have just got pushed to the wayside because they potentially don't feel productive. For example, I was baking my best friend a birthday cake on the weekend, and I realized that while I love baking, I haven't done any in the last few years. And also that it is ridiculously expensive to bake a cake. Why on earth did it cost $50 to make a cheesecake? We've also visited a fair few gardens recently, but my balcony has been left abandoned and unloved for months. Kinda like my boyfriend. Being forced to watch my own face while editing last week's video though, that was what really pushed me over the edge. Clearly, the balance is not balancing. So, much like how I used a personal curriculum to encourage some mental stimulation, I'm also going to use one to encourage some guilt-free enrichment time. The one rule. There is one rule to this, however. This curriculum is exempt from productivity. The projects don't have to be shareable or even good. They don't have to improve my life. There's not even a timeline that I need to complete them in. I'm using the curriculum format for two reasons. One is that it's convenient to have everything in one spot. It's like a more organized Pinterest board. And two, I like the way the framing of a curriculum gives it. Like, creativity is an important part of a well-rounded intellectual life, which it is. The take home though is that this is really more an exercise in prioritizing creative play for the sake of it, not mastering a skill or pushing myself to learn a new craft. So if you want to try this yourself, here's what I did. 1. Brainstorming all the projects I want to do. If you're a creative, there's probably a fair few projects floating around your consciousness that you want to do at some point in the future. Well, that was my first step. I noted down every project I've got on my mental to-do list, big or small, as a starting point. 2. Reviewing my supplies and finding projects based off that. While we don't need to be productive, we also don't need to be wasteful. So rather than just scouring social media for project ideas, what can you use up that's already in your cupboards? 3. Once I had a list of projects and crafts, I separated them by big project, little project, for the whimsy, and practice. The titles are pretty self-explanatory. You get it. 4. And then I created my curriculum on Milanote. Now, Milanote is a paid tool. I already had a subscription going into it, so you don't need to use it. So you could do this on paper, or you could do it on Notion, which is totally free. I just went with Milanote because, well, let me show you. Because this is all about getting me inspired to create, it had to be cute. I am shallow, materialistic. Forgive me, Karl Marx, but I have bought. Let's start with my big projects. First up, we've got some home decor. We recently renewed our lease, which we'd been a bit iffy on for quite a while, so I'd put a mental pause on a lot of the big projects in my mind, like my mini cat apartment and balcony tea garden. Now that we know we're bunkering down though, resume. Effective immediately. I don't talk about it much on YouTube, but my TikTok friends will know I am a fiend for jewelry. Hence the whole crow girly joke. Actually, I love me a shiny thing. In line with that, I'm slowly building up my collection, so I would love to make myself a ring or two. My next section is practice runs, and this one's interesting. They're basically mini projects for skills that I want to practice more joyfully. Yeah, you know what? I heard the wankiness there too, sorry. Basically, what I mean is that these skills, especially the writing, are things that I have to do regularly for work purposes, which is great because I love them, hence making them part of my work, but I want to make space for doing them in purely fun ways too. My just for whimsy section is, well, exactly what it says on the tin, purely for the fun of it. Make and decorate a cute cake, spend some time making my personal project dashboard all pretty, just because these projects are just silly and fun. And my last section is little projects. Honestly, a lot of these are just projects that I already have in my pipeline, like I said earlier, just writing down things that are on my to-do list. So a couple of examples of those are turning these shells into solid perfume cases and making another tattooed hand like this one here. But I also want to tangibly make some cool activity sheets for my monthly journaling pack. If you don't know what those are, by the way, basically, I don't want to paywall my content. So for my paid members and Substack followers, I make a digital snail mail pack each month. And my first one went up last month and I designed it entirely on Canva, but I want to do some paper stuff and then scan it in. I think that kind of fits our vibe here a little bit more. While we're on the topic of that though, by the way, I've commissioned art from the wonderful, talented Devon who make my little crow girlies. So there are some little art prints in the upcoming editions, which is very exciting. So that is my creative curriculum setup. But before we go, I actually have a little project update for you. In terms of my silly, fun, just for the hell of it project, I finally gave my Milano dashboard a refresh. It's very pretty, it's very inspiring. Hopefully it means that I will actually go into it and write my book, but we are on year 3 of that draft, so I'm not gonna hold my breath. Progress has been made on one of my big projects. I actually started turning my balcony into a tea garden and also just a nice hangout space for my boyfriend and I to read or have a morning coffee, whatever. If you guys are interested, I can do a full update when it's finished, but here is how it's looking. I love her. The balcony is attached to my office, so it's really useful to have a visual reminder to like, take a breath. Don't be such a little capitalist. You don't have to be productive all of the time, outside of the bare minimum to survive, obviously. And that's what my creative curriculum is really. So I hope this was helpful. Drop me a comment letting me know if you have a creative curriculum and what's on yours. Thank you to my channel members as always, and thank you to everyone for hanging out with me. Okay. Bye. Let me see if I've got this right. You sit before me, a creative in spirit, but perhaps not practice. And the algorithm has been algorithming. The TikTok girlies with their artfully messy craft desks. The living offline blogs. Maybe you even saw my last video about why you should be prioritizing creative play to stave off the demons. And you yearn for your own creative outlet. But you have no hobbies, no creative talents, no prospects. Or maybe you do have a bit of a creative hobby, but you've surpassed the just for a giggle entry level, and now there's a bit of internal pressure attached. Fear not, friends, because the solution is simple. You just need to add some dipshit approved hobbies to your roster, and maybe cut the dipshit who's currently on your roster. You know, while we're on the topic of de-stressing. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mia and I chat shit while I make shit. So if you like making things or just background noise while you do your dishes, hit subscribe. And if you end up liking this video, give it a like, hype, comment for engagement. It really helps the channel and I appreciate it, so thank you. Today I'm going to be sharing some of my favorite brain-off, hands-on creative hobbies with you. These are specifically crafty things that are low stakes, low frustration, basically hard to fuck up, easy enough for complete beginners, and require minimal mental load to start or pick back up. Before we begin, my top tip, as someone who loves to try a wide range of crafts but doesn't want to spend loads of money on startup supplies or having to store those supplies if I just want to do like one project just to try it out, craft kits are a girl's best friend. Everything is set out for you to just sit down and do with minimal mental load required to start or pick your project back up. They're designed to be beginner friendly, they're affordable, and you get the exact amount of supplies you need. I'm throwing this tip in here first because you'll probably notice quite a few craft kits popping up during this hobby list. Basically, that's why. My absolute favorite brain-off hobby right now is half stitch. It's literally one stitch, super simple for the whole thing, and with the kit I'm using, even the canvas is pre-printed. So you're basically just color matching and stitching really. Very easy, very repetitive, very soothing, and it's also quite a small canvas, especially compared to some of the other projects we're going to be talking about, so you can both complete a project more quickly and in more places. This is one that moves around the house with you. While I am an affiliate of Craft Club and I love their kits, hence me having so many. They don't pay me for ads. I just have them and mention them. But just to be clear, you don't need any specific kit, right? Like it doesn't need to be a Craft Club kit. I'm just sharing them because they're the ones that I use. Which leads me to latch hooking was actually my favorite brain-off hobby until recently. Much like with half stitch, it's one simple motion to learn for the entire project. In this case, a knot. Again, this is one that I use a kit for because then the yarn comes pre-cut, the canvas is pre-printed, and it has a back sewn on it, so I don't have to prepare or think about anything. I just sit down and tie knots. It is slower and bigger than half stitch, which is why it's been bumped to number 2 on my list, but you literally get a rug at the end, which is very cool. It would be sacrilegious of me to make a hobby list on my channel and not mention a form of journaling. The people would revolt. Junk journaling is basically a form of collaging or creative journaling where you take junk from your everyday life, think receipts, labels, packaging, and you use them as supplies. It's a fun, low-pressure outlet because what? You're gonna beat yourself up over ruining a journal spread made of your literal trash? I know some of you just said yes. I need you to unclench your jaw. Junk journaling is great because it's low cost and, at least for me, exempt from perfectionism. Again, we are using literal trash. This is my journal from last year, and as you can see, she was very well loved. You don't need the $200 notebook, put your wallet away. If you want to start journaling, here's what you actually need. A notebook and pen, that's literally it. But you could also benefit from storage. I have an old box I use for junk/paper scraps and an actual organizer for my stationery. It's nice to have. Stickers, they're fun. I love buying sticker sheets as a way to support small businesses. But if you're on a budget, sticker books are more economical. Background paper books. Honestly, very useful for filling journal pages, but not necessarily. I throw washi tape into that camp as well. As a certified journal slut, I know that what we tell men is a lie and that size in fact does matter. But what size is best? First up are smaller options. My current favorite is a mini journal. Pros are that this is super portable. The pages are really easy to fill, so it's not overwhelming at all. If you're trying to build up a habit and stay consistent, this is a great option. Second, we have the traveler notebook size. It's a little bit bigger, but still compact. Love it for creative spreads because you have more room to play. Onto our bigger options, the standard journal size is inoffensive. It's a great beginner option. As you can see, this was well loved last year and it works well for both junk journaling and writing. Our last option is an A4 journal, which honestly, not the most practical, definitely not portable, and the pages can feel a little bit intimidating, but a lot of room to get creative and try out new things. I had no idea what to title this section. Stick with me on this. We're basically lumping various crafty projects that use printable paper elements together under this category, ranging from entirely paper crafts like my printable theatre kit here, to crafts that use printables to do the heavy lifting. So an example would be my tattooed hand mannequin that I'm doing here. Have you ever looked at your jewelry organizer and thought, that's boring? Because what do you mean I have this curated, eclectic collection of shiny things and they just sit in a box? The crow girly in me simply cannot let that stand. Semi-related, the crow girly in me also wants hand tattoos real bad, but then maybe she shouldn't have picked a corporate job. Anyways, back to the point. Did we leave it? This is what I came up with. This is my new ring holder. What do we think? Basically, crafts with the nitty-gritty skilled work like drawing can be skipped using a tool like Canva or a template or whatever, and you're free to just use the paper to play. Because I have done a truly awful job of explaining this, I might just show you some examples. Sorry in advance to any of the crafty girls who did not need another project to try, but I had a whim. Welcome to day 1 of 30 days of hobbies. Today we're attempting to turn my trinket collection into a sticker sheet, but my cricket and I are beefing, so it's 50-50 on how this is gonna turn out. Listen, life-wise, I'm kind of feeling it recently, so I'm setting aside this month to prioritize creativity and experimentation before the seasonal depression gets me. It's coming. This project has been calling my name for so long. I've actually only used my Cricut once before and found it a deeply frustrating experience. However, this time was better. Alas, for the final results, the machine was still not calibrated correctly, but I'm a good enough kind of girl, so I'm still considering this a success. ADHD girlies love a novelty organization system, but I think I just came up with a new favorite. So I used printable magnet paper to turn my craft locker into a visual goal board. First, it's right next to my desk. There's literally no escaping it, but the magnets make it really easy to move my goals around as my priorities kind of shift. Hopefully you get what I'm trying to explain. Okay, hear me out. I'm not suggesting you whip out a soldering iron and start creating your own fancy rings, although I am absolutely requesting you drop your shop name if you make jewelry like that. I am very much looking to add to my everyday stack, but beaded jewelry making or making your own charm jewelry is surprisingly easy. All you really need to learn is how to open and close jump rings, which again is very simple. And from there, it's just combining elements together. And once you have the hang of that, there is so much potential. So here are some of my recent-ish projects. Journaling girlies, this craft is for you. Today we are making journal charms. All you need is some charms. I love thrifting mine personally. You also need some jump rings, lobster clasps, and pliers. How cute are these? If you are also obsessed with hand chains, let me show you how to make one. All you need is a chain of your choice, some jewelry pliers, jump rings, and a clasp for the bracelet. You could even add a little charm. Let me know what you think. Admittedly, jewelry making, while it is easy, it does involve a lot of small, precise things, and it is a little bit more finicky than the other hobbies on this list, hence why it is in last place. But overall, if I wanted a low-stress, mind-off hobby that requires no skill or artistic ability, here are the 5 I would start with. I have based this list off my personal hobbies that I actually do, so there are many other things that would fit this bill, for example, coloring books I can think of. I just personally can't speak to those, which is where I open the floor to you. If you have a super easy hobby that you love, feel free to shout about it in the comment section below because I'm nosy and I want to know. As always, thank you to my channel members and thank you for hanging out with me. Okay, bye. Crafty girlies, rise up because our time has come. Now, I know many of us have been fighting off hustle and productivity culture with a stick, but today let me explain how through crafting, you've actually become the final boss and you can laugh in your tech bro boyfriend's face. Because crafting might be one of the best long-term investments you could make for your brain. So join me for experiment number 3 of 2026, trying crafting for cognitive benefits. We're going to be talking about some of the science behind how crafting activates your brain, how I tried to incorporate that into my everyday routine, and whether I actually felt any day-to-day benefits. So let's jump into it. But first, hi friends, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Mia and I chat shit while I make shit. So if you like making things or just background noise while you wash your dishes, hit subscribe. And if you end up liking this video, give it a like, hype, comment for engagement. It really helps the channel and I appreciate it. So thank you. My inspiration for this experiment was a great video I stumbled across last year about the benefits that crafting has for cognition and some of the recent scientific studies in that area. That video will be linked below and you should definitely give it a watch. But essentially, crafting, especially crafts that involve both hands moving in a repetitive manner, really engages your brain, which is amazing for strengthening neural pathways and helping you build more, aka keeping your neural plasticity in good nick. Not only can this potentially help your mental health and general mood, there's research that indicates it could also help stave off cognitive decline in your later years. Now, of course, I am simply a crow girly with a microphone, and the only STEM I work in is tending my garden, and she's looking a bit sad right now. So don't take my word for it, let's pull some quotes from these smart people. The American Academy of Neurology published an article named "Can Arts, Crafts and Computer Use Preserve Your Memory?", where they shared the findings of a study done by the Mayo Clinic Study of Aging. Here's the results from that. Participants who engaged in arts in both middle and old age were 73% less likely to develop MCI, which is mild cognitive impairment, than those who did not report engaging in artistic activities. Those who crafted in middle and old age were 45% less likely to develop MCI. And even if we're not looking that far ahead, crafting makes us feel good in the moment. This is a quote from the National Geographic article, "How Knitting May Be Rewiring Your Brain." And besties, please bear with me because there's a lot of words where I'm like, I'm gonna give it my best shot, but I do not know if I'm pronouncing these correctly. So, a 2024 study in Frontiers in Behavioral Neuroscience supports this outlook, demonstrating how creative endeavors activate the brain's dopaminergic reward network, particularly in areas deeply involved in pleasure, motivation, and mood. But unlike the dopamine spikes triggered by scrolling or sugar, knitting provides a slower, steadier reward. From what I've read, while any crafting is beneficial, it seems like there are distinctly different benefits that you get from different learning stages. So when you're competent at a craft, you're able to access the flow state. And there's actually a really interesting article on Drexel University's news website where they did a neuroimaging study on jazz musicians while they were accessing the creative flow state. And to quote, "The findings reveal the creative flow state involves 2 key factors: extensive experience, which leads to a network of brain areas specialized for generating the desired type of ideas, plus the release of control, letting go, to allow this network to work with little or no conscious supervision." Whereas when you're learning a new craft, you are challenging your brain and developing new pathways, all that good stuff. A passage that sums this up perfectly is actually from that National Geographic article again. So when you challenge the brain with unfamiliar tasks, such as learning to knit, it lights up new pathways, offering a unique neurological boost. With time and repetition, those same actions become fluent and meditative, allowing the brain to shift into a restorative flow state. This challenge to mastery arc helps maintain neural plasticity. However, you must continually reinvent the challenges for your brain as you master old ones. Now, while there is a growing amount of research into how crafting can improve emotional well-being and maybe even have long-term cognitive benefits, just bear in mind it's not conclusive right now. It's a lot of associations and correlations. But honestly, what we do know for sure right now is still enough for me to want to prioritize crafting in my everyday life. So let's get into the experiment. We are actually on round 2 of this experiment currently, so let me tell you all about my failed January run and what I'm changing moving forward. So for January, I set out with a simple goal to work on a latch hook rug project for 15 minutes a day. For the video of it all, and also because I am slowly accumulating crafts like for a specific purpose, I'm trying to make my cat a mini apartment and I want it to be like really soft and cozy for her. So I actually purchased a fresh new kit, also thinking that it would be really cool to see the full start to finish visuals for this video. Really and truly, you cannot say I'm not an optimist. If you follow me on TikTok, you will already know that I always use Craft Club Co. Crafty girls, drop your opinions, please. My current favorite brain off hobby is latch hook rug making, and I've made a rug, a handbag, a moss coaster, all using kits from Craft Club Co. But what should we make next? All the projects that are on my experiment page are from them, because I already have those kits at home. Basically, I say this to say that I highly recommend them, and as I am an affiliate of theirs, you can use the code Mia'sDigitalLife for 10% off your order if you did want to try them. But again, the point of this experiment isn't like you need to do latch hook rug making. Like, it could be any craft, so you don't need to buy a kit, but yeah, this is what I'm using. So the parameters of my January experiment were really simple. It was just do 15 minutes per day of latch hooking, reap the potential brain benefits, and report back. I only had one real research question in my Notion bank. Do I feel any different? Am I more focused, have better clarity, etc.? Okay, so here's how it went. There are only 3 notes I left during this experiment. Week 1, really enjoying this. I have found myself looking forward to my 15 minutes of silence throughout the day rather than forcing it in last minute, which is what I thought would happen. I've also found myself going back to do it untimed throughout the day as a mental reset or break. Week 2, easy to skip. I'm able to keep consistent, but not daily, especially not daily I'm out of the house. I reckon I'll just try to do it first thing in the morning. And then there's a note on the 31st of January, and all it says is, okay, well, that totally flopped. Yeah, the habit side of things, I completely fell off. 15 minutes a day doesn't sound like much, and it's not, especially on days where I'm already at home, but it was the first thing to drop when I got busy. And once you miss a day, the streak is broken, okay? You might as well miss 2. However, the cognitive benefit side of things, that I would actually consider a success. Because I've done latch hooking projects before, and latch hooking is incredibly easy, it's one simple knot for the whole thing, it's a very automatic brain off activity for me, which means it's really easy to enter that creative flow state. One of the articles I referenced earlier in the video described flow as being like meditation, and while I'd never considered it that way before, I think it's true. Spending 15 minutes doing this, again, very simple, very repetitive craft, it really decluttered and focused my mind. I found myself being drawn to latch hooking for that purpose, especially on days where I was doing self-directed work. I would often dip into this project as a break just to force reboot my brain or try to feel a bit more present. So, taking these learnings, I decided I did want to continue down this path, but just revise the parameters of my experiment a little bit for the next round. So, experiment 2. Okay, so I changed a few things. The first thing I did was lengthen this experiment to 3 months and get rid of any semblance of daily practice. We are going for regular over strict timed goals. I've also expanded this experiment to include 2 types of practice to cover the different potential cognitive benefits that we mentioned before. So 1 is practicing an existing skill, i.e. latch hooking, and 2 is to challenge myself with new skills, and those are half stitch and crochet. Rather than time-based, we're going project-based. So I have an old rug kit that I'm about a quarter of the way through that I want to finish, as well as the stamp kit that you guys have seen me starting already. And for the challenge projects, I picked out a half stitch and crochet kit. And this is because while I bought the latch hook rug kits myself, Craft Club actually did gift me some kits before Christmas. So they gifted me the crochet kit, which I have not yet tried, and they also gifted me a half stitch kit, but I completely fucked that up about halfway through. I did really enjoy it, and again, the point is to challenge myself, so I am going to reattempt half stitch. And naturally, just to be clear, I'm not suggesting you go out and buy a ton of kits. If you are interested in recreating this challenge for yourself, you're likely crafty and you probably have supplies at home. So I actually made an entire video about how I make my own craft kits out of the random supplies that I find myself just accumulating, and you can check that out here for inspiration. But you could also start with one kit, or you could pick a craft like clay, which you don't even need a kit for, just like a box of $20 clay in your hands. This is supposed to be an inspiration jumping off point. It doesn't have to be a you need to buy X, Y, and Z, or you're going to die alone and your friends will hate you and your skin's gonna get shit and you're gonna feel depressed forever. All right, cool, moving on. Obviously, I can't give you any conclusions for this experiment yet because, well, we've just started our second round of it. But I'm very excited to give it a crack and see how it goes, and I will check in with you in a few months. If you've made it this far, thank you for hanging out with me as always. And if you're like, girl, you keep talking about experiments, please, sir, a crumb of context, check out this playlist, which explains why 2026 is my year of experiments and some of the experiments that we have tried so far. Okay, bye. Getting, girl, we're meal prepping, but for crafting. One thing about me is that I love a craft kit. In my most recent video, I floated the idea of front-loading mental energy when you have it to make it easier to do things when you don't. Craft kits, for me, fit that bill perfectly. So I'm very much a hobbyist rather than an artist. I love crafting as a way to use my hands and unwind, and sometimes I want to flex my creative muscles and plan something from start to finish, but like 80% of the time, I'm just looking to sit down and do something with my hands, really. We're not making masterpieces, we're just trying to have a good time. Craft kits are brilliant for that because all the finicky setup things like the measurements, the tools, the designs are all set up already so that when I have the urge to craft, I can just sit down to craft. It removes all the friction from the process. With that in mind, something I started doing mid last year and that I actually swear by is making my own homemade craft kits. Here are some of my old craft kit creations, by the way. This can be a great way to use up the random supplies I know you have sitting in your closet. I actually made a specific video about that here. But in keeping with this month's theme of overwhelm, it's also a really useful tool to help you prioritize creativity and play, even when you're a bit too mentally fried to do all the planning side of things. Again, it's that idea of front-loading mental energy when you have it to make it easier when you don't. So today I'm making a few homemade craft kits, and each one comes with a free printable guide if you want to try this yourself. The download link will be in the description box below. Let's go! Kit 1, Embroidered Journal Kit. Our first kit is for a cross-stitch journal cover. I keep seeing these on social media and it combines two of my favorite things at the moment, needlepoint and journaling. Here's an inspiration video, credit to Getting Crafty with Anna for this.
Here's how to make the handmade gift everyone will be obsessed with. Start with a soft cover journal and then slip something like mat board under the cover to protect the journal while you punch. And then I went on Pinterest and found the perfect letter E, but there are tons of grid-based designs out there that would work. You can play around with the size, but I printed mine at 3¼ inches tall. Then I cut out the letter for easy placement and taped it down. You'll need a punching tool. I'm using a scratch owl and it works perfectly. And then my favorite part is punching the leather. So don't punch the entire grid, only the squares that make up your letter, and make sure you're going all the way through. When you're done, remove the paper and wipe away the crumbs. And for sewing, I'm using 2 strands of embroidery floss. Thinner looks cleaner, so I'd stick with 1 or 2 strands, so you might need to separate your floss. Create a double knot, thread your needle, and keep your guide nearby because it gets confusing without it. Start from the back and secure your knot. Now you can start making X's. I've tried English cross stitching where you finish each X one at a time, but Danish style is way faster for me. Basically, you do all the diagonals from bottom left to top top right first and then go back and cross them. It doesn't matter what method you choose, you can even do a combo, but the key is keeping them consistent. And to finish, tuck your thread under a nearby stitch a couple times to lock in the knots and then trim the excess. Last step for a polished look, hide the threads. I take double-sided tape and run it along the edges of the journal's first page. I didn't show it here, my bad, but I also do a big tape X across the middle. Close the journal, press everything down, and it looks like the first page never existed. This is genuinely one of my favorite handmade gifts this year. It's so fun, you won't want to stop. Save this for later and follow for more.
What's in my kit? A printable guide, some easy to copy cross-stitch designs, needles, a leather hole punching tool, thread, and an A5 journal insert. By the way, you're gonna see some trends in these kits. I touched on it briefly before, but it's because I try to use these kits as an opportunity to clear out my craft closet and use supplies that I already have to hand. For example, you guys know I love me a journal, and I needed to restock some of my A5 refillable journal inserts, so I got a great deal on a bulk lot of inserts, and I've designed some of these kits around customizing them, because, you know, I got the journal just lying, journal foil embossing. Our second kit is another journal cover craft. Don't look at me like that, okay? I warned you. The inspiration video for this one is from Tokudoki on TikTok. Look, as soon as I saw that video, I just knew I had to try it out. This journal pocket specifically, I am coming for you. After I practice though, because this journal is way too pretty to ruin. Anyways, what is in my kit? Again, a printable guide, some easy to copy dotted designs. By the way, with these designs, I did do a little test run of these. I would suggest that you print these small because I think it will look better when the dots are crowded together. I also added in a foiling pen and gold and silver foil. The whole set was 13 Australian dollars. So not too expensive, which is really nice. And kit 3 is a metal embossed journal cover. This is the last journaling one, I promise. And I've actually already done this craft separately, but I loved it and I had supplies left over, hence it getting a kit. So for this inspiration video, I'm actually just gonna use my own TikTok. Journaling girlies, I fear this project is a must. Today we are DIYing some little planner decorations using craft foil. This project has been on my list for the longest, but I kept overthinking it. So I'm literally just sitting down and giving myself 10 minutes, start to finish on each design. Here's how they came out. What's in this kit? You already know how this goes. Instructions and some patterns for you to trace. And embossing tools, although again, these are things that I already had. I actually didn't put any foil in the kit, purely because I don't want to bend it. And hopefully you've noticed, I don't buy any new containers or anything for these kits. It doesn't have to be super aesthetic and pretty. I just use tins or old boxes that I've got lying around. And you can actually see that some of the tins I've used in this video have been used for old craft kits before, like these ones. Kit 4, an embossed art kit. Keeping with the embossed tin theme, I have been loving these mixed media art frames all over my Pinterest recently, so I decided to make a little kit for one. What's in my kit? Instruction sheet and reference images, embossing tools, and a mini shadow frame. Now you might be thinking, Mia, your designs are way too big for that frame, and look, you would be correct, but you would also be rude to point it out, okay? Let me live. That being said, I'm very excited to do this one. I've got some bigger frames, so if the test run goes well, I might actually dust off my sketchbook and like draw something properly. We shall see. And kit number 5 is a paper garland. Our last kit for today is a paper garland, courtesy of my Pinterest feed. I just keep seeing them and they look so fun and celebratory, and I feel like my craft room would just benefit from them, to be honest. This is another kit for making use of what I have. So I recently picked up some of Martina Calvi's milligram bits to review. Spoiler alert, they're great, obviously no surprises. And now I have loads of wonderful decorative paper. So yeah, we are using that. What's in my kit? An instruction sheet with some shape templates, decorative paper, and some ribbons. This kit is a good resting place too because it contains something that I do want to highlight, that these kits are just starting off points. For example, yes, I've created these templates, I've created these kind of easy default options, but I'm actually way more excited to use this paper for the cut out symmetrical style garlands I have been seeing so many fun examples of those on Pinterest, but I'd have to experiment with those a bit. So yeah, while the kit templates are a base easy option, I'm not beholden to them, and neither are you. 9 times out of 10, I will open a pre-made kit because it's easy and it's ready to go, and then the creative muscles will start to wake up and I'll end up drawing something myself or adding a twist to the original idea. But having these kits at least makes it easier to start. Okay, my friends, let's end at the end. Do you make craft kits yourself? What would you make? Will you try these ones out? And if you liked this video, don't forget to give it a like, hype, comment for engagement, all the things. It really helps the channel and I do appreciate it. So thank you. As always, thank you to my channel members and thank you to you for hanging out with me. Okay. Bye. Something I've learned in the week since bringing our puppy home is that puppies are dumb and that humans are also dumb in many of the same ways. Case in point, my puppy will have all his favorite toys and his safe, non-charged with electricity treats. And yet, when given free rein, he will forsake those things in favor of chewing cables. The law of the abyss calls to him too, it seems. While frustrating, there is something instantly recognizable in this behavior. I too can be surrounded by my high-value toys like books and craft supplies, yet still find myself rewatching Rick and Morty and feeling empty inside. The problem: our brains are very efficient. Yeah, I bet you didn't expect me to say that one, did you? Depending on how you look at this, our brains are either very efficient or very lazy. We love a shortcut. During research for this script, I came across the term cognitive miser. It's a psychological term used to describe the human mind because of, to quote, the tendency of humans to think and solve problems in simpler and less effortful ways rather than in more sophisticated and effortful ways, regardless of intelligence. I.e., we like the easy option, saves energy and helps us make quicker, albeit sometimes worse, decisions. When left to default, my brain will often pick the path of least resistance. The phone, the TV, the thing directly in front of me that I don't have to consciously think of, unlike the half-finished project currently stashed upstairs in my wardrobe. And this, shall we say, poor decision making is only amplified when I'm stressed or busy or overwhelmed. The thing is, defaulting to cheap pleasures is a bit of a snowball effect. If I'm stressed and I start defaulting to my phone more, I inevitably flood and fry my brain, which gives me a mental fog hangover that makes me more likely to reach for my phone again next time, and then before you know it, it's just been a week of feeling like garbage. Today, we're DIYing a little something to help intercept that default process: a dopamine menu. What is a dopamine menu? A dopamine menu is a visible breakdown of positive activity options, usually organized by effort required, so that when you're bored or seeking dopamine, you have an easy visual cue for what to do. When I first heard about dopamine menus, it was in the context of reducing screen time, and well, to be for real, I didn't think they'd work for curing screen addiction. I did think they'd make a cute journal spread though. This is actually from 2 years ago, which is insane. Anyways, in my internet travels, dopamine menus kept popping back up, and as I read more about them, listen, I still didn't think they were necessarily a tool for competing with your phone, but I did definitely see their value for something else: overwhelm and decision paralysis. My two dear friends. Humans don't like limitless options. We've already spoken about how lazy our brains are. That's just a whole lot of thinking and sorting to do. Creating a dopamine menu helps you to cut some of that out and streamline the time it takes you to decide on something. It employs one of my favorite tricks, which is front-loading mental energy when I have it, so that it's easier for me to get things done when I don't. While I first heard about dopamine menus relating to screen time, from what I can tell, the idea actually originated from the YouTuber How to ADHD back in 2020, and it was, shock horror, more of a tool for ADHD. While there are now many variations to the dopamine menu concept, I really like the structure used in that video, so that's what we're going to use today, and that video will of course be linked down below, so you should definitely check that out too. How to make a dopamine menu. Step 1. Think of all the activities that bring you joy and write them out into categories. Appetizers are quick wins, easy activities that don't suck you in or require too much from you. For example, making a nice coffee or listening to your favorite song. Mains are the meatier tasks with big rewards but also a bigger buy-in. So reading a book, doing some art, going for a walk, that kind of thing. Desserts are our indulgences, our well, not naughty. If you're not harming anyone, whatever, but the behaviors that, let's say, is easy to overdo and end up feeling worse for. Scrolling on TikTok, for example, or eating a ton of sour Skittles. I love them, but that's a trap. Sides make a little bit more sense within the original ADHD context. Essentially, they're fun little things you can add to everyday tasks to spice them up a bit, like listening to a podcast or calling a friend. And specials are for the rarer treats, going to a concert or seeing a theatre show, for example. Step 2. Once you have your activities listed, you can get to the fun stuff, designing your dopamine menu. Now, this is totally up to you. Canva has tons of menu templates you can amend, or you can get your craft supplies out and make something yourself. Alternatively, I did make 2 templates that you can use. This whole video is kind of about making it as easy as possible to do more of the things you want to do, so feel free to use these shortcuts. Template 1 is a guided zine. And yes, I totally got the zine idea from Struthless's video, replacing your phone is easy when it feels punk. Go watch it next, it's linked and it's great. So he basically used a zine to help him track why he was going on his phone, and the size was really handy because it could just be stuck to the back of his phone and easily accessible. So similar deal here, right? You can use this as a worksheet before you move on to your final design, or if you want it easily accessible from your phone, you could use this as your dopamine menu and stick it on the back of your phone or pop it in your phone case. Your choice. But each page covers a brief reminder of what we've spoken about, as well as some prompts and some space for you to fill out your menu. Here's a little walkthrough of what this looks like. There'll be a free download link to the PDF in the description box of this video. Eat, drink, be merry. Template 2, a customizable menu. Our second template is just a blank canvas menu with headings pre-filled for you. I kept this design super plain, so if you want to have fun decorating it yourself, go ahead. Personally, I use stickers, but you could paint or draw or really whatever your heart desires. By the way, with the stickers I'm using, I just brought a bunch of the Martina Calvi Milligram collaboration to review and also just to support because I love her work. And I'd already bought her latest sticker book drop, that's what I'm using here. But yeah, just to let you know, I will be posting a review of that next month. Look at how beautiful this journal is. Anyway, so again, this template will be free to download in the description. Do whatever you like with it. So, what is on my dopamine menu? Okay, well, you guys know me. I am in fact a crafty girl. So a lot of these activities are craft related. Sponsorship aside, I always forget how much I adore working with clay, and doing that project earlier in the video reminded me. So clay is definitely on the list. There's also journaling, my favorite needlepoint crafts. Alas, the I can make that bug has bitten me again. So I want to DIY a cute journal pouch, but the first time I tried half stitch, I kind of messed it up. It turns out though, I can in fact learn from my mistakes. So this is my progress. I've been a bad cat mother, so let's fix that. Welcome to... Today we're actually tackling one of my big projects, a DIY rug for my cat, but we are running out of time until Christmas, and again, this is a big project, so here's my progress so far. I've also been loving metal embossing, that's super beginner friendly and fun, and of course, reading and writing. So yeah, nothing really surprising on there, to be honest. But yeah, that is everything from me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Have you tried making a dopamine menu yourself before? How did it go? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, big thank you to my channel members, and a big thank you to you for hanging out with me. Okay, bye!